Hi everybody. A little bit later than as advertised, but welcome to another edition of Instagram Live with me, Piers Torday, and we are reading all of my books during the lockdown and the schools closure. Starting with my first book, The Last Wild, and depending how long this goes on for, who knows, we may get as far as my latest book, The Frozen Sea, but we'll see how we do. Thanks everyone for coming. Sorry I'm a bit late today. So The Last Wild is the book I'm reading at the moment, and if you want to read along, the book is available from Waterstones and Amazon and other outlets. And we are up to page 171. We're up to page 171. We're going to be reading chapter 21. I can't believe it, of this story. And if you're joining for the first time, this is a story about a boy called Kester, and he lives in a place like Britain called the Island, and it's set in the future. And what's happened is a mysterious virus has killed nearly all the animals in the world. But Kester has found a few animals that have survived, led by a great stag, and he's promised to try and help them find a cure. These are the last wild animals left alive in the world. They call themselves the Last Wild. And Kester, along with his friend Polly, is trying to take them to the capital city of the island, Premium, to find his dad, who's an amazing vet, to see if they can find a cure for the virus. But unfortunately, along the way, they've been intercepted by some cullers who are employed by Facto, this big food company who runs the island, and the cullers' job is to track down all the infected animals and get rid of them. That's how they dealt with the virus then. They just get rid of all the infected animals. So Kester has led the animals away from the cullers. They've escaped, but now they've come to a river. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for waiting. We are now at page 171, chapter 21 of The Last Wild. "Okay, kidnapper," says Polly, looking at the heavy brown water rushing past. "Where next?" Sniffing the air, the stag mutters to himself, and then they came to the fish road, just as in the dream. Extraordinary. Then he asks me a question. "Now tell me what you are more afraid of, Kester." "I don't understand." "Tell me what you can see." "I can see mist floating across from the other side of the bank over a fat stretch of fast-flowing water, which seems to flow faster the more I stare at it. A fish road, the stag called it. Not that there will be any fish left in there now. And it's torrential. Whole branches are being carried along in a swirl of leaves and seeds, bumping over the rocks that stick out just above the surface like the world's smallest mountain range. Now look again behind you," says the stag quietly. Twisting round, I can see Captain Sculdis hopping towards us through the pine trees, grinning, with one crutch pointed at me and the stag. Behind him, two cullers are bent over double, catching their breath. Sculdis is dead calm. "Childrens, please, enough of this nonsense, enough of this silly running competition." He gestures with the crutch. "Hand over the animals, please." "And what do you fear the most?" continues the stag, as if he hasn't heard what Sculdis has just said. I realise what he's suggesting. But we'll drown. I mean, the cat, the cub." "Ha! Don't worry about me. I am the best swimmer in my pack," says the wolf cub. Captain Sculdis fires a shot into the air. I might have just made the most stupid decision of my life. But there's only one way to find out. "Now!" I yell. The stag rears up and springs off the bank into the river. Polly lets out a long, loud scream, and Sydney shrieks for her life, both howled down by the wolf cub behind us as he too leaps into the water. For a second, it feels like we're flying. First, the sky and the ground are in the wrong place, and then, before we know it, we're diving down. With a loud, flat slap, everything goes brown. Pushing up, grabbing Sydney, I gasp as we break the surface again. Heaving for air, the wet muzzle of the wolf cub panting eagerly next to me as he paddles to stay afloat. "I can't believe you did that!" Polly screams, exploding up out of the water beside me. "You're going to be in so much trouble. You can't just do things without asking anyone." I can't believe we did that either. The water is freezing. It might be moving fast, but it's the temperature of sheer ice. Every breath you take is like a shock, your body fighting to stay alive. I look around wildly. Sydney's head bobs just above the surface, paddling like crazy, nudged clumsily along by the cub. "That was fun," he gasps between strokes. "I would very much like to do that again. Wouldn't you, Cat?" "In that case," gasps Sydney, "perhaps next time someone could kindly do us the favour of tying you up in a weighted sack first." The wolf cub frowns and steams ahead. I glance back at the pine wood, the bank we jumped off, as the current sweeps us further into the centre of the Icy Fish Road. Captain Sculdis hops along the edge, trying to aim his crutch at us, but we're moving too fast for him to get a clear shot, and before he can, we sweep on round the bend. Our teeth chattering, we feel the stag's powerful kicks beneath us and try to stay clear of his hoofs. I stretch my hand out across the water to Polly. The cold must have gone right through her. She stopped talking, her lips completely blue. We link arms together over the back of the stag like he's a life raft, with us drifting against his sides. It's beginning to get dark. I scoop Sydney out of the water and coil her round Polly's neck like a wet towel. Her fur is soaking, and you can see patches of skin underneath. The stag's head is barely clear of the water, his powerful legs moving beneath us as he tries to push through to the other bank across the current. An invisible but rippling line of steel that forces us back into the centre of the fish road whenever he tries to break free. "Stay together," he says. "Whatever happens, we must stay together." There is silence along the banks as we spin and bump past them. But in the distance we can just hear a roaring noise that gets louder with every bend we take. Polly begins to loosen her grip and slump down further into the water. "I think I might just have a little sleep," she says, her voice sounding blurry and confused. "You have to keep her awake," orders the General. "That is an order! Wake up! Wake up!" he shouts, while surfing alternately between Polly and me, nipping at our frostbitten ears. The wolf cub swims up alongside us. "We will easily survive this," he boasts, panting heavily. "I can do anything. I can run the fastest around the water at the ring of trees. I can play catch a white butterfly better than any of the others in my pack. I can jump the highest off a rolling log, and I once pounced onto my father's back and held on for longer than he said any wolf had ever done. He said I was the bravest. He said..." He suddenly goes quiet. I know what he's thinking about. The same thing as me. Dad's. Then, as if she was too, as if there was something in the water, as if she'd been holding it in for ages, Polly suddenly blurts out, "I hope this is all worth it, kidnapper, and that you can help these animals. Your dad had better not be just another horrible facto man like Captain Sculdis or Selwyn Stone. Because if you really wanted to help animals, why would you work for a company that sends a man on crutches to kill them all?" Never mind the cold, or not being able to speak. I'm too angry to think. All my dad's ever done is help animals get better. It's true that I don't know if he has found a cure yet. I don't even know if he still lives in our home anymore. A fear ripples down through me, colder than any water. Perhaps Polly was right to look strange when she learned he worked for Facto. So much has changed that I don't know about. Perhaps he has... She pulls at my hands, harder this time. The cat is coiled limply round her neck like a heavy scarf. "Come on! You have to answer. You have to tell me why your dad will help. Why is he so different to the rest of them?" "Because he is. But he's always helped save animals. That's what he does. Suddenly, I'm properly angry. I didn't ask Polly to come. She forced her way along. Everything was going fine till we met her and her stupid cat. We wouldn't be here about to drown in this icy water if it wasn't for her. I'm rescuing her cat, and all she can do is ask me these stupid questions. Without thinking, I jerk my hands away from hers to say, "Shut up and go away." And she does. With a little cry that sounds more like one of Sydney's mews, she falls back. Her clothes balloon around her. The cat screeches, and the current drags them away. "Stag!" I yell, but it's too late. Before he can even twist round, Polly and Sydney have been sucked further and further on by the pull of the fish road. "I'll go after them! I'll save them!" shouts the wolf cub, but the harder he tries, the more the current sends him spinning in circles too. "Sydney!" I cry out. But they've gone. And that was the end of chapter 21 of The Last Wild. We're up to page 176 in the book. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry we're a bit later today due to technical difficulties. Hope you are still enjoying it. Do come back tomorrow for chapter 22. If you'd like a little creative writing prompt for an exercise this afternoon, I'd like you to imagine what would happen if Kester, Polly and the stag had jumped into the river, but rather than coming to the top, had gone all the way down to the bottom of the river and found a whole new underwater kingdom. What creatures might live in an underwater kingdom in the river that Kester and Polly could interact with? There you go. Have fun writing now, and otherwise I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 2:30 for chapter 22 of The Last Wild. Take care.